Nikita Krylov and Ryan Spann. Nikita Krylov coming in at minus 152. Spann comes back at plus 152. As always, odds courtesy of BetOpenly. Over under set at 1.5 rounds, plus 110 for the over, minus 110 for the under. In the light heavyweight division, this could be a decent fight as far as, possible title fights in the future. Maybe win this one and win one more, and you maybe get a shot. Both guys have been around for a decent time in the UFC at the light heavyweight division. Both guys got a lot of fights under their record. Who you like in this one?
Dude, it's kind of tough because both guys have a ton of experience. Both guys have beaten some pretty good fighters. If you look at, if you break down the stats and the data of this fight, Ryan Spann's got the height advantage, the reach advantage. Obviously probably going to be a little bit more powerful as well. I mean, we saw him knock out Dominic Reyes with that jab and then just viciously follows it up and just puts the lights out. We saw him submit Jan Kudetalabe when he rushed in. So Ryan Spann's kind of this, up until recently, he was kind of this underrated guy, flying under the radar, took a couple losses here and there. But when he wins, man, he looks good and he does it in spectacular fashion. And then Krylov beat Alexander Gustafsson. His only losses, here's the thing with Krylov, his only losses are to guys he should probably be losing to: Magomed Ankalaev, Jan Blachowicz, Paul Craig, which is, a lot of people and a lot of good fighters have gotten beat by Paul Craig, Glover Teixeira, and then he's beaten Ovince St. Preux, Johnny Walker, Gustafsson, Volkan Ozdemir in his last fight. So both of these guys are, like I said, experienced veterans. They can get finishes. But right now, it's from what Ryan Spann's done in the last couple of fights, it's hard to ignore him at plus 150 or over. I mean, if the line tightens a little bit, I could see where you'd maybe hammer Krylov because he is just so solid everywhere. But right now, man, as that big of an underdog with a guy with that kind of finishing ability, power, submissions, I kind of like Ryan Spann, especially looking at Nikita Krylov's record. I mean, he's got 6 submission losses on his record. He's got a knockout loss and then lost twice in decision. So, yeah, man, right now I got to lean with Ryan Spann. It might come back to bite me, but it's not a bet or anything right now. But if I'm going to predict this fight, I'm going to lean on Ryan Spann to get another spectacular finish, maybe by submission.
Yeah, I can't knock you for taking that because at the plus money, he's cashed twice in a row as a dog. Dominic Reyes, as you alluded to earlier, plus 180 there, knocked him out with a jab, and then won against Iwan Kutalaba with a guillotine choke in round 1. I mean, the guy is as explosive as they come in the first round. We haven't really seen him too much in the later rounds, other than that split decision with Sam Alvey, which is just crazy to me that Sam Alvey was able to survive with him in there. That was kind of before his durability kind of gave up on him. And the fact that he got a split decision with Ryan Spann is certainly something to behold there. But he's made some improvements over the years. And the thing about him is if he goes for it, he fucking goes for it. If he clips you at all in that first round, he is going balls to the wall. He gets that red in his eyes and he goes for it. He's a wild striker, powerful striker. Thing about him though, he's got some really good subs as well. I mean, he's got 12 submission wins, 10 of those in the first round. So if you're Nikita Krylov, do you want to go to the ground with him? He went to the ground a lot in his last fight with Volkan Ozdemir. Really showed a big improvement in his wrestling game. I mean, he won the fight basically because he was able to get Volkan on the ground and weigh on him. And nobody really had that fight go into decision, and it ultimately did because that was the path that he felt he had to take to get the win there. In that first round, Volkan clipped him a couple times. He hit Volkan a couple times. So he's like, all right, I'm just going to take him down and secure the win that way. Gets the win against Gustafsson. Looked like he never respected him at all on the feet and just went right through him. On the feet, he throws a lot of volume. He's got a lot of awkward strikes, though, too. He kind of moves certain way where it's just really awkward, unorthodox. I mean, he lands 4.45 significant strikes per minute. So he's very active on the feet and not afraid to get in there and throw with you in the pocket. But the thing about him, as we saw in the Paul Craig fight, he was winning the whole fight until he wasn't. That's a lot of the case with Paul Craig. He can get subbed. He's been subbed 6 times. He's been subbed 6 times in his career, and within the past 5 years, he's been subbed twice by Jan Blachowicz and Paul Craig. He did win the first round against Magomed Ankalaev in the Apex with a lot of his wrestling. So kind of out-wrestled one of the better wrestlers in the division in Ankalaev in the first round and then lost the next 2. Both guys have a big ceiling. It's just really who's going to show up that night or who's on that night. If both guys are on, we're in for a treat. If one guy's on and one guy's off, it's going to look really lopsided because both guys are super powerful. Both guys have a lot of finishing ability. So yeah, I mean, as far as a pick goes, I would probably lean the dog. Just for the fact, like from a betting standpoint, it almost seems like it's dog or pass. But Krylov, if he implements the game plan and stays safe of wrestling and, taking the path of least resistance or the least likeliness of him getting finished, goes the wrestling route, would be interesting. But then you're messing with that submission game of Spann. It doesn't seem like there's a safer play for any guy. So I think the under on this one, we look at the under again. It was over under that 1.5. I mean, you're pretty much almost at even money for the over under 1.5. That doesn't look too bad to take the under there. But it is a 5-round fight, so they could come out pacing themselves. This is Krylov's first main event. Ryan Spann has done this once before with Anthony Smith. So I would be interested to see how Krylov comes out. The fight with Smith for Spann, I mean, he came out swinging, so I would expect him to always come out that way. But yeah, I think it's kind of dog or pass in this situation. You're laying minus 160 on light heavyweights. There's a lot of variance that could go into that. So yeah, I think it's probably dog or pass. You got anything else on that one?
Yeah, I definitely agree because Spann is so dangerous from every angle. I mean, the striking, the power, even the submissions. It's just if you leave your neck exposed for 1 second, he can find that angle. He's so powerful and so strong that it's impossible not to go out. And he's done it before. Yeah, man, I just think all signs point to if you're going to put money on this fight, it's got to be on the dog's side. I mean, minus 160. You're going to have to play more money to win less. And, there's a chance that any second he gets finished. So, yeah, I think it's dog or pass. Probably not a big play at all if you are going to bet on it, but I like Ryan Spann here.
Yeah, one last thing on that. He got subbed by Anthony Smith, but he was kind of wobbled in that one. So, I mean, he was hurt and then kind of got subbed once Smith got on him and flattened him out. And then he got finished by Johnny Walker in the first round with those vicious elbows and hammer fists. And he had Johnny Walker knocked down twice in that fight, I believe. So, I mean, he had him on the ropes. And that was kind of before Johnny Walker started getting a couple of losses. So, yeah, I think it's harder to finish Spann. I don't know. We'll see. But kind of a
good fight.
Greasy spot. Yeah, good fight. Good main event. Good main event,
sure.
I will say. It's kind of a fight under the radar in the light heavyweight division. I think it's going to be exciting to watch.